Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying Book Week Scotland so far. This is our book speed dating event, and what is going to happen is, after me, there will be a series of short clips from some of our staff recommending some fantastic Scottish fiction to you, and at the end you'll have an opportunity to go and vote for your favourite, or which one you might fancy going on a date with or reading if you like. So sit down and relax and get ready for some fantastic book reviews and book recommendations, and don't forget to vote at the end.
Hi everyone, my name's Craig and I'm the Macmillan Project Manager for North and South Lanarkshire. I would like to talk about a book that was recommended to me by a friend called Mayflies by Andrew O'Hagan. I didn't think that I would find a Scottish read that could live up to the read that I had from earlier in the year, which was Shuggy Bane, and I've passed that book on to so many people. But then I came across this little beauty from a friend, and the story set in Manchester, which is obviously close to my heart because it's near home. There's three main themes obviously that run throughout the book. The first is love and friendship, male friendship actually, music, a love of music, and dying well actually. So the first half of the book I would say is a roller coaster, very much focusing on the youth and the music culture of that era, the Thatcher era, and found and related a lot to the situations they found themselves in travelling around. And then the second half of the book really looks at friendship and what we're prepared to do for our friends. It's not a perfect book, but I would highly recommend it to people to read. It's moving, there's rites of passage, love, death. Brilliant read, recommended.
Hi, I'm Gillian from Cumbernauld Library. My book speed dating offering is The Ever-Living Memory of John Valentine by Ross Sayers and published by Fledgling Press. This is a really exciting read and I finished it in a couple of days. I think that's due to the premise of the book. It's about memory, about how clear your own memories are and what would you do if you could really revisit times in your own life. The characters in Ross's novel are so well described that you're drawn into the story just as they are drawn into the chance to relive a memory. As the story begins, John Valentine's lying in bed at Memory Lane and using the groundbreaking Memorise technology that he himself developed. And he's been dropped into a period in his own timeline, his wedding day, over 40 years ago. And he's revisiting it continually in a bid to change a really painful memory that's haunted him ever since. While John's immersed in 1975, Hannah's in the present, starting her first day of work at Memory Lane in Edinburgh, a mysterious clinic shrouded in secrecy where wealthy customers pay a small fortune to relive a 12-hour period of their lives as they remember it. And it's the same place that John himself is in. And Hannah very soon discovers that clients can't automatically be removed from their memories when the 12-hour period is up. And it's her job to go into clients' memories if they refuse to leave after their allotted time. The job title, Memory Retrieval Assistant, means she's allowed to step into other people's emotional and very personal times. But the story charts the two characters in the dual timelines, but they literally collide when John realises that by playing around with his memories, the computer simulation started to create a new reality and doesn't want him to leave. Hannah and John's paths should never really cross, but as things spiral out of control and the book builds towards its nicely measured conclusion, they do, with pretty entertaining results. The book is smart and witty. It can be at one point a tender reflection on life and relationships, and at others a wild rush of ideas and encounters as John and Hannah are faced with a computer simulation controlling their virtual world. But the great humour and believable characters makes sure the two blend really well. I would highly recommend this great Scottish read. Happy Book Week Scotland.
Hello again, it's Chris, the eServices librarian, and my book recommendation for our book speed dating event would be Carol Johnson's Mirrorland. It's a fantastic, dark, gothic novel, and it is quite a psychological thriller The scene is that it's set in Edinburgh, and Kat, the main character, is a twin sister of Elle, who has gone missing, and Kat has been away in America for a long time and has to come back to Edinburgh to help with the search for her sister. Everyone in Edinburgh thinks that her sister has died in a boating accident, but Kat doesn't think so, and she starts receiving messages that makes her think for definite that Elle is still alive. There's lots and twists and turns in the story, and there's little drip feeds of information as it goes through. It really will catch your imagination, and it is fantastic. Mirrorland is a place in the book as well, because it is a fictional place that Kat and Elle used to go to in their childhood, it's a kind of place in their home, and it's kind of dark, mysterious places filled with make-believe characters, and some are real, some aren't, and there's lots and lots of stuff to get yourself lost in. It'll have you turning the pages to the very last page, and I am sure that anyone who picks up this book will really, really enjoy it. So that's my book recommendation for this book speed dating event. Do please vote for this one.
Hello, my name's Judy Maguire and I'm a community librarian, and today I would like to recommend to you a book that I very much enjoyed, Summer Water by Sarah Moss. This is Sarah Moss's 7th novel, and its title is actually a reference to The Ballad of Summer Water by the poet William Watson. The ballad is based on a legend in which the waters of a lake rise up and drown a village, sparing only the household who have offered a stranger from a distant land food and drink. All the action in this novel takes place over one day, and it takes place in a holiday village on the shores of a loch, in what might be a typical summer in Scotland, where it rains incessantly for days and days, causing everyone to be cooped up, not able to do all the holiday things that they had hoped to do. But this focuses the action quite tightly on the characters and really what's going on inside their heads. And one of the things is that we see the difference between what is going on inside their heads and what they're saying or what they're doing. Each of them has his or her own problem. We have a young woman who is a fitness fanatic, going out running in the rain every morning, but who in fact has a heart problem. We've got an older man who drives his car far too fast on those wet roads. There's a stranger who lurks in the woods. There's a teenager who paddles out far too far on the loch in his kayak. There's a young girl bullying and tormenting another young girl who has a foreign sounding name but considers herself to be Glaswegian. Everyone has their own secret. Added to this, there is no phone signal. And it's clear from the start that something is going to happen, and it's not going to be something good. So it's a very atmospheric read. It keeps you turning the pages. You want to keep track of what's going on in the families, and you can't help wondering which one of those characters is going to come to grief at some point. As I said, we see the differences in what characters are thinking and what they're actually saying. And one example of this is where a couple are making love in the morning, and the male partner is determined that they're going to achieve simultaneous orgasm and strives to do just that, while in fact the female partner is more obsessed with the idea of a bacon bap for breakfast. So there is some comedy in the way that people are thinking, but there's also a reflection of just the time and place where the novel is set, because There are musings in people's minds about Brexit, about climate change, so we get a sense of that as well. I would very much recommend it. I think you would become quickly involved in it and really enjoy it, so I hope that you will give it a chance. Thank you.
Glasgow Kiss. It's the debut novel by Bells Hill native Sophie Gravier, evolving during lockdown from her blog entitled Sex in the Glasgow City, and sporting the taglines, "There's nothing romantic about dating," "Filthy, hilarious and painfully relatable," and "Zara Smith is the Bridget Jones for the millennial generation." So just exactly what can you expect? I started this book and within the first 3 pages I was laughing out loud. I finally finished the book in the early hours of the morning, having laughed uproariously, cringed behind a cushion and loudly discouraged Zara from some of her actions while high-fiving her over others. So they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and there are 2 covers for this book. One starring the statue of the Duke of Wellington outside Glasgow's Gallery of Modern Art, suitably adorned with his traffic cone hat. And the second, well, anybody who's won a participation prize at an Ann Summers party will surely recognise the edible underwear. I've only heard about it from a friend, honestly. Take the edible undies as a cautionary tale though, because they play a tragic and hilarious role in the evolution of Zara's character. You could suggest that the author's a little indulgent in relation to Glasgow locations mentioned in the book. Frequent references to the town, the streets, cafes and bars, not forgetting the rain, which plays quite an important role too. But the reminders that the story is set in Glasgow aren't over the top. Why wouldn't a reader want to hear about Zara's hangover-inducing, gin-swilling attempts to be a social butterfly? Plus, Cumbernauld gets a mention, as does Motherwell, so Sophie really has it all going on. I saw some comments on the language, saying it's too near the knuckle and explicitly crude on lots of occasions. Not to put too fine a point on it, the language is industrial in nature. But have you listened to 220-somethings in the queue in front of you recently? Sometimes bad language is cultural. It's not intended to be shocking or offensive. It's just how some chat is. And in this particular story, it fits. Is the chat, or banter, if you like, within the friend group, crass and coarse? Yes, it is. But it's not gratuitous. It's very, very believable, and in my opinion, it's most authentically Ouija. So back to, is Zara Smith the Bridget Jones for the millennial generation? If you take 50 Shades of Grey, Bridget Jones, Fleabag, and apply a liberal Glaswegian accent, you're on the right track. Add in hopeless, impulsive romantic and social media stalker, and you're getting the picture. It's not a literary classic. Like most novels these days, there are grammatical errors, but it has a distinctly Ouija flavour. And that's a language and culture all of its own. It also highlights the differing types of feminine hygiene products and their secondary uses as demolition tools. So bear that in mind. This book is a cracking read. Hilariously and disgustingly funny. Cringeworthy, graphic, and please don't tell my mum or daughter, but very, very relatable. If you're easily offended, take a hint from the swizzle bikini. But if you're open-minded, a free spirit, or just a Ouija woman with a passion for gin and good friends? Have a go.
So there you have it, guys. That is all our book recommendations for Book Week Scotland and this book speed dating event. If you have seen something that you would like to get your teeth into and maybe think you would enjoy turning the pages of, then don't forget to vote for it in our Menti poll, which you'll find in the description and comments below on this video. So do have a look for it, don't forget to vote, and we hope you enjoy one of the books that you have seen in this video. And happy Book Week Scotland!